Welcome back. Dave Isaacs with you for jamplay.com, and we're going to continue on with what we started in the last lesson, going from a slow change blues to a quick change blues. It's basically the same chord structure. The only difference is we're going to pop in a quick 4 chord in that first set of 4 measures. From the 1, right to a 4, and then back to the 1. The rest of it's the same. 4, 1, 5, 4, 1. So very, very small variation. There are lots of others. These are the 2, or I should say, these are 2 of the primary ones you should be familiar with. If you go to a blues jam and somebody calls a quick change blues, you know we're going to hit that 4 chord in the first 4 measures. From the 1 to the 4 in the second bar and back to the 1 chord, the E, in the third and fourth bars. I'm going to take the opportunity here, though, to introduce some other chord forms moving up the neck. And again, keep in mind that these shapes are going to also give you outlines for lead playing and improvisation. So it's important for a variety of reasons. I'm starting off with what I'm going to call a C shape E7 chord. C shape because if I pick up my pinky, it looks like I'm holding a C chord moved up the neck, which in fact I actually am. Here's C, here's D, here's E. Adding that pinky gives you a 7th. I'm sure that's reminiscent to you of something. Many things, very potentially. But this is a very common chord form, and if we just take this, and just like a bar chord, it doesn't have to have a bar to be movable, as long as I'm hitting only the fretted notes. If I jump on up to the 12th fret, then I have my A7. Or rather, I have a version of A7. Back to E7. I could jump up to the 12th fret here, 12th through 14th. For B7, I said jump to the 12th fret before for A. I meant 10th through 12th. And then back to the E7. But we're going to use more chord voicings than that because I want to be able to stay in the same basic region of the guitar neck as we change chords. So for the A7 chord, when I start here, I'm going to go to this. You may not be familiar with this. It's a partial chord, but it is, in fact, a moved up version of this E7 that we ended the last exercise with. Keep in mind, it's just this, but muting out the D string, and I'm not even really hitting either E, I'm muting those out too. Because if I do that, no open strings means the formation is now movable. E7, F7, G7, A7. And to give you some additional context, if I play what is likely a familiar E shape A bar chord, and then play the 7th over here on the 8th fret of the 2nd string with my pinky, I can now simplify this by getting rid of the bar and just playing the 3 notes that were outside the bar and muting the other strings. What I like about this is how neatly these chords flow from this E7 to this A7. And if you're remembering what we've been talking about in terms of being able to visualize forms when you're improvising over the chords, if I want to stay in this position and know how to play notes that are going to fit E7 versus notes that are going to fit A7, it's very useful to see when things are close together like this. So flowing together, it goes like this. Notice how that creates a nice little melody. And even a counter melody or a counterpoint. Now, as we move on to A7 in the 5th bar of the 12-bar sequence, I'm going to use a different form. I'm going to use this. This is a great shape to know. It's nice and thick. since it's focusing on the bass strings. And it is derived from the same big E-shaped bar chord. Here's A, here's A7, and so I'm just going to extract from this big shape 3 notes. The 6th string, 5th fret, the 4th string, 5th fret, the 3rd string, 6th fret, and finger it like this. Index on the 6th string, middle on the 4th string, same fret, pinky on the 3rd string, 6th fret. Now look how nicely this flows. These 2 notes drop a half step, and then we substitute the bass note. And then let's use that same formation for a B7 at the 7th fret, because again, movable just like a bar chord. A7, and back to the E7. So we have nice smooth voice leading. Everything's close together. Let's add a variation. This E7 contains an octave. If I play a scale, and we'll deal with this later as well, I can continue. This is starting the next octave, but if we just think of it relative to the low root that we started with, that note is a 9th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so if I just substitute this 7th fret note for the 5th fret note, I have to rearrange my fingers a little bit. We get this really cool sound, a 9th chord. There are other ways to play it, but let's go with this for now. Middle finger, A string, fret 7. Index, D string, fret 6. Ring, G string, fret 7. Pinky, B string, fret 7. Let's slide into it. They sound good like that. And then I'm going to go to this A7. Hear that nice voice leading? Listen to this. Flows beautifully. And then I'm going to go to this A7 again. And back to the E9. B7. Just like the A7, but moved up to frets 8, 9, and 10. A7, E9. We can expand that 9th by letting go of the pinky, flattening the ring finger to cover across to the 1st string at the 7th fret. So it's a nice variation. One more voicing of E7. We spoke a while back when we were looking at scales about how you can start from the same note, and depending on which finger you use, you end up with access to a particular region of the fingerboard. We're going to do this with a chord as well. Here is the E7 we've been using. I'm going to use the same E root note, but I'm going to play it with my index finger. This is now setting up a bar chord. Using ring and pinky at the 9th fret of the 4th and 2nd strings, I have really what's an A shape or an A7 shape. A7. So fret 7, fret 9, fret 7 under the bar, fret 9. So also an E7. And then from here, I'm going to jump to a different A7. I'm going to use the C shape that we used previously for E7 and jump from here to here with one small variation. Instead of keeping my ring finger on the root on the A string, I'm going to move it to the 6th string at the 12th fret. This is introducing a note we didn't have. this chord does not have a fifth in it, or at least we're not playing it. We have a root, a third, a seventh, and an octave. If I move this finger over here, that's putting the fifth on the bottom. It's kind of a thick sound, but it sounds good. There's E7, and so we're going to use this A7. Now notice, even though, and this is one of the quirky things about the guitar, even though I'm jumping positions, we're still voice leading, because this note, E, is just being played somewhere else. This note, D, is dropping to this C sharp, and this note, G sharp, is going up to this note, A. So listen to the change. Even though there's a jump, it's very, very fluid. I'm then going to use another variation of A7. Now, if you find you're getting confused by all these variations, then just go by the exercise, memorize them, and as you continue to go over it and reinforce, you will start to remember. You might want to go through, oh yeah, E7, E7, E7 with a C shape, E7 with an A shape, A7, A7 bar, broken down, broken down, A7 with the C shape. So a good bit to keep straight, but we are just coming at the same thing from slightly different directions. Let's put it in context. Play this with me with the track. Couple of quick details I should mention. For flavor and style, I'm playing at first just on the downbeats, quarter notes, but I'm releasing the pressure after each stroke. It just adds some flavor, a little more of a swing feel. And notice up, down, but that upstroke is muted. Because I've released the pressure. And a couple of other little rhythmic things. When we went to the end of the E9, it did this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3. Syncopated. And then sliding into that E7 and using this rhythm. Off, 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 playing on the off beats. And then we had this little tag using a moved up D7 shape. And there's another variation on that E7, which you may know from Jimi Hendrix or any number of other places. It's an E7 sharp 9. It is not officially called the Purple Haze chord, although that's what a lot of people call it, because here's 9, here's sharp 9. Fret 7, fret 6, fret 7, fret 8. So, a lot of chord forms to remember. Go back over them if you need, again, to take sort of an inventory, and this is a good exercise to do. E7 with 2 fingers, 2nd fret, 1st fret. E7 with 3 fingers, E7 with a C shape, E7 with an A shape, E7 with a D shape, A7, 2 fingers, 3 fingers, adding that 3rd fret of the high E. Derived from the bar chord, frets 5 and 6. Also derived from the bar chord, frets 7, 6, 8, and the C shape, 12, 11, skipping the string, 12, 10. And this is another A7, and it's borrowing notes from here, but it's also borrowing notes from the scale. This C sharp was not in the bar chord, but it's in the scale. Fret 4 on the A string, fret 5 on the D, and fret 5 on the B string. So again, our A7s go like this, either fingering, 3 fingers. Here's this one I was just talking about. This one, and this one. And notice how just like the scales, as we move up the neck, we're able to bring more and more high notes into it. Hopefully, as you memorize all of these chord forms, you'll be able to see the intersection between scales and chords that is really so important to being able to play in a fluid style over different chord changes. We'll get deeper into that down the road, and I'll see you there.